What if every fruit pit you've ever thrown in the trash could have become a living tree? Right now, somewhere in your kitchen trash, there's probably a mango seed, an avocado pit, or a peach stone that still had a chance at life. Most people toss them without a second thought. But here's what almost nobody realizes. Inside that hard, unassuming shell is a fully formed plant, just waiting for the right moment to wake up. You've probably tried this before. Maybe you stuck a pit in a cup of water, or buried it in a pot of soil and waited. And waited. Nothing happened. So you gave up, assuming it just wasn't meant to be. But that's not what really happened. Almost everyone makes the exact same mistake, and it has nothing to do with luck. There are only 3 simple steps that separate a rotting pit from a thriving tree. One tiny detail decides everything. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn mango, avocado, peach, and plum pits into real, living trees using the same simple system. Let's start with the treasure you didn't know you were throwing away. Every time you eat a piece of fruit, you're holding something far more valuable than a leftover. That hard little pit in your hand isn't waste. It's a blueprint. Inside it is a tiny embryo, curled up and dormant, along with a built-in food supply designed to feed it the moment it wakes up. Think about that for a second. Nature already packed everything the seed needs to become a tree, right inside its shell. No fertilizer. No greenhouse. No fancy equipment. Just warmth, moisture, and time. This is why growing fruit trees from pits feels almost magical. A mango pit can become a tree that shades your yard for decades. An avocado seed can grow into a plant with glossy green leaves that people mistake for something you bought at a nursery. Peach and plum stones, tucked deep inside their fruit, hold the code for entire orchards. But here's where things get interesting. Most of these pits never get the chance to prove it. They end up in the trash, or they're planted the wrong way, and they quietly fail before anyone notices what went wrong. That isn't even the most surprising part. The real reason most pits fail has almost nothing to do with the seed itself. Here's something most gardeners never notice. Fruit pits are essentially a survival strategy that evolution perfected over millions of years. In the wild, a mango pit doesn't land gently in a cup of water. It falls to the forest floor, gets buried under leaves, soaked by rain, and warmed by sun in an unpredictable rhythm. The seed inside is built to survive chaos, not perfection. That means the real secret isn't creating perfect conditions. It's understanding the few conditions the seed truly can't live without. Here's the part nobody expects. It's not bad luck. It's not a bad seed. It's timing and technique, and almost every home gardener gets both wrong on their first try. The number one mistake is planting a pit the moment it comes out of the fruit, without preparing it first. A fresh pit is often coated in sugary fruit residue, which attracts mold. Drop that straight into soil, and instead of sprouting, it quietly rots underground, out of sight, while you wait for something that will never happen. The second mistake is inconsistency. Seeds don't like extremes. Too much water drowns them. Too little water dries them out before they even begin. Most gardeners either flood their pit in a cup of water and forget about it, or plant it in dry soil and check on it once a week. Both approaches confuse the seed's internal clock. The third mistake, and this is the one almost nobody notices, is orientation. Seeds have a top and a bottom, just like you do. Plant one upside down, and the sprout has to fight gravity just to find its way to the surface. Some make it, many don't. But there's one mistake that trumps them all, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. First, let's talk about what actually works, because the fix for all of this is far simpler than you'd think. This is the moment everything comes together. The method that turns a forgotten pit into a real tree isn't complicated. It comes down to 3 steps, and once you see them, you'll wonder why nobody taught you this sooner. Step 1 is cleaning and prepping the pit. Rinse off every trace of fruit flesh under warm water. This single habit prevents most of the mold problems that kill seeds before they even start. For mango and avocado, you'll also want to gently remove the outer husk if it's loose, exposing the smoother seed underneath. For peach and plum, the woody pit needs to dry for a few days on a windowsill before the next step. This tiny detail changes everything, because a slightly dried pit is far easier to crack open safely. Step 2 is triggering germination. This is where most people accidentally ruin the seed, so pay close attention. For peach and plum, the pit needs a cold period, mimicking winter, before it will ever sprout. Wrap it in a damp paper towel, seal it in a bag, and place it in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 weeks. For mango and avocado, no cold period is needed. Instead, you gently open the outer shell with light pressure from a knife or your hands, revealing the softer seed inside, and place that seed in a damp paper towel or suspended in water using toothpicks, keeping the bottom half submerged. Step 3 is patience and warmth. Every one of these seeds needs steady warmth, ideally near a sunny window, and consistent but gentle moisture. Not soaking. Not dry. Just damp, the way a well-wrung sponge feels. Within 1 to 4 weeks, depending on the fruit, a tiny root will emerge, followed by a pale shoot reaching for the light. What surprised me most while learning this is how similar these 4 fruits really are underneath their differences. Mango and avocado want warmth and moisture right away. Peach and plum want a fake winter first. But every single one of them follows the same basic rhythm. Clean it, trigger it, then give it warmth and time. That's only half the story though. What happens after sprouting is where the real transformation begins. Once that first root appears, everything starts moving fast, and this is genuinely one of the most rewarding parts to witness. The root grows downward first, anchoring the seedling before it invests energy above ground. Within days, a pale green shoot pushes upward, curling toward whatever light it can find. At this stage, it's time to transplant into soil, if you haven't already. Choose a pot with drainage holes, and use rich, well-draining potting soil. Bury the root gently, but leave the very top of the seed slightly exposed for mango and avocado. For peach and plum, plant the sprouted pit about an inch deep. The first true leaves usually appear within 2 to 3 weeks. They'll look small and fragile at first, almost translucent, but don't worry. Each new leaf is a sign that the plant is settling into its new life. Keep the seedling indoors near a bright window until it develops several sets of leaves and a sturdy little stem. Growing indoors for the first several months protects the young tree from harsh weather and pests while its root system strengthens. Once it's warm outside and the plant has grown several inches tall, you can begin transitioning it outdoors gradually, a process called hardening off, giving it a few hours of outdoor exposure each day before leaving it out full-time. From there, long-term care is refreshingly simple. Water when the top inch of soil feels dry. Feed it occasionally with balanced fertilizer during the growing season. And expect the unexpected timeline. Mango and avocado trees can take years before fruiting, while peach and plum trees may fruit sooner. Growing a tree from a pit is a long game, but every stage along the way is its own small reward. Seasonal expectations matter too. In cooler climates, mango and avocado trees often need to live in containers so they can be brought indoors before frost, since neither one tolerates freezing temperatures. Peach and plum trees, on the other hand, are hardier and can usually be planted directly in the ground once they've outgrown their pots, provided your region gets a proper winter chill. This is where patience becomes the most important tool in your entire gardening kit. A tree grown from a pit isn't racing against a calendar. It's growing at exactly the pace it needs to. Even with the right method, small mistakes can still derail your progress, and these are the ones most gardening guides never mention. Rotting pits are usually caused by excess moisture combined with poor air circulation. The fix is simple: change the damp paper towel every few days, and make sure your container isn't sealed completely airtight. Drying out happens just as often, especially with mango and avocado seeds left suspended in water that evaporates unnoticed. Check moisture levels every couple of days, and top off water as needed. Planting upside down is an easy mistake to make, especially with round pits like avocado. Look closely, and you'll usually spot a slightly pointed end, which faces up, and a flatter end, which faces down into the soil. Too much water suffocates roots, cutting off their oxygen supply. Too little warmth slows germination to a crawl, sometimes stopping it entirely. Most of these seeds want conditions close to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Poor light produces weak, leggy seedlings that stretch desperately toward whatever brightness they can find. A sunny windowsill or grow light solves this instantly. And perhaps the most common mistake of all, giving up too early. Germination can take anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks, and nothing may seem to be happening on the surface. But underground, roots are forming. The seed hasn't failed. It's simply working on its own timeline. There's a moment every pit grower remembers vividly, the first time they see a tiny root emerge from something they almost threw in the trash. It feels less like gardening and more like witnessing a small miracle unfold in your own kitchen. Watching a discarded pit transform into a seedling, then into a real, leafy plant, changes the way you look at fruit forever. That mango you enjoyed on a summer afternoon didn't just satisfy a craving. It handed you the beginning of a tree that could one day shade a garden, produce its own fruit, and outlive the moment you first tasted it. This is the part that makes all of it worth it. Not just the science and not just the technique, but the quiet satisfaction of nurturing something from nothing, using only what was already inside a fruit you almost wasted. So the next time you slice into a mango, scoop out an avocado, or bite into a peach or plum, pause before you toss the pit. That small, hard object in your hand isn't garbage. It's potential. It's a future tree, waiting for 3 simple steps to bring it to life. Start saving your pits. Try the method. Watch what happens. You might be surprised at how much life was hiding in something you almost threw away. If this opened your eyes to what's possible with something as small as a fruit pit, give this video a like, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who still thinks their pits belong in the trash.